My name is Brandon T. Bailey, and I grew up in faith and in the fellowship of the church. I grew up Baptist, y'all. I grew up in an old school Baptist church where we sang Dr. Watts and had prayer service and testimony service and afternoon service. And, I grew up literally in the church. My college years actually exposed me to some other denominations. So it was in college that I was first exposed to Pentecostal, Kojic, AME, and what is now known as the non-denominational church, which is probably the most common ministry that I see now. I've been active in ministry since I was a little boy. Matter of fact, here's a picture of me directing the adult choir alongside one of the adult directors when I was pretty young. So I again have grown up in church and grown up in ministry. Although I grew up Baptist, I attended a Catholic school. Some of the very fond memories I have is defending my faith with against theirs, not only with classmates, but I remember getting into debates with priests over whose faith was correct. And I can't help but laugh at that because it's pretty bold to be a teenager defending your faith using scripture against people who actually went to school and studied this, and it's absolutely crazy, but it really is a testament of where my faith was at that time. I remember starting a Bible club even while I was in high school, so it was kind of a, I guess you could say, non-denominational Bible club that me and a couple of my classmates were running inside of a Catholic school. So that's the picture of where faith and ministry started for me. I've been in music ministry for pretty much my entire life. Yes, I've sang in the choir, but I've also been a worship leader. I've also, served in other capacities in the church, and I've done that for years. So that really is the foundation of who I am and what I have come to believe in my life. Now let's talk about music for a second. My music education has been anything but traditional. I would consider myself to be a talented musician, but I am careful not to call myself a professionally trained musician because I did not go through the traditional music education. Like at all. And to complicate that even more, I'm a music educator now, and my path into that field was also very non-traditional. And so I consider myself to be an artist and not a musician because I don't like the box. I also, am a writer. I feel very passionate about writing, but I have no formal training in doing that as well. And so now my goal is to take the gifts, writing, music, creative visual arts, to take these gifts and give them to the kingdom in their authentic box. I consider it the way Jesus said, "I am that I am," and it has taken me a very long time to say I am who I am. I have the giftings that I have, and not to try to model those after anybody else, but it is mine, and I give it to God first and to the world second, just so that it can be a blessing to the kingdom. Vision. I have always been a person with a big vision. Anybody who has known me for any amount of time knows that I'm always talking about very big things. I have always found ways to illustrate and to communicate and to document my vision and to make it easier to share it with other people because I am such a visual person, which is why I think I chose to do a video podcast in addition to an audio podcast, because I am a visual person and I interact a lot with those visual cues as well. Where I have been challenged throughout my life and career is executing on the vision. This is where I have stumbled time after time, and this is the place that almost caused me to give up. And if I were to think about one thing that is kind of contributed to that, it's fear. Here's what I learned as I kind of wrap this part up. My ACE score is 4, which means, based on the statistics that I gave you earlier, I am in the 1 in 6 who have experienced at least 4 adverse childhood experiences. Why is that important? Because ACEs are linked to chronic health problems, mental illness, and substance abuse in adulthood. When, as a child, you don't develop the skills to address these traumatic experiences, they carry over. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and it talks about how you experience trauma and your body holds on to it even when your mind or your emotions may not. That also is important because of this. Because I grew up in faith, I have learned to give it to the Lord. I have learned to let go and let God. I have learned to put on that churchy God's got it look and appearance. And what happened in 2014, when the bottom started to drop out, I realized that I did not have the skills to actually address the trauma. And so all of the years that had been ignored now sat on top of what would have otherwise been a normal traumatic experience, the loss of a parent. And not to minimize it, because yes, that is difficult, but it's even more difficult when you compile all these other things that had not been dealt with for years. And so as a result of that, I have become deathly afraid to do things that I felt purpose to do things that I felt passionate about doing. It has tremendously impacted my effort to charge forward. And it's been said that fear and faith cannot coexist. And I don't believe that's wrong, that's correct, because they do. One of the things that therapy has taught me is that conflicting emotions can exist in the same space. You can be both excited and terrified in the same experience. You can be both fearful and faithful in the same experience. The question becomes, which one of those emotions get your attention? Which one do you lean into? Which one do you celebrate and give your energy to? And for me, this has been about learning to overcome the fear and focus on the faith. So who am I? I am no expert. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm not a pastor. I am not the greatest musician in the world. I am not the greatest author in the world. I am someone who has experienced things. I am someone who has been purposed to share those experiences, because once again, I believe that in so doing, you help someone else. If I can help someone else see, achieve, share their purpose, then that excites my purpose. That gives me energy to press forward. That encourages me to press on. And so this is about that. Finally, I want to personally invite you to the Controversy Project Facebook group, A Safe Place. It is a free and exclusive community where trauma survivors and trauma supporters have gathered together to share testimonies, to share resources, and to share support and love for each other, as all of us are endeavoring to learn to live TS strong. This is just another one of the many multimedia platforms that we have chosen to use in order to fulfill this very, very important mission. And I want to invite you to be a part of it, and obviously welcome you to it in advance. Listen, in closing, until next time, I want to remind each and every one of you how important it is for you to confront your pain, how important it is for you to live your purpose, and how important it is for you to invest in your project. Till next time, peace.